regular council meeting of October 28th, 2013 to order at 7 p.m. Everyone please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call roll please.
Stirrett.
Here.
Audie.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Here.
Cooper. Here. Baylor.
Here.
Bullock.
Here.
Everyone has the agenda in front of them tonight. Are there any additions, deletions, or is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I'll move that the agenda be accepted as presented.
Motion by Mr. Ballard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Conan. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizen comment on non-agenda items? Any citizen comment on non-agenda items? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have no presentations tonight. Under administrative reports, everyone has their F&B report. Mr. Stewart, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, Chuck Bailey is not able to come tonight. His planning commission in Elginak is rescheduled for today, and he's the chairman of planning commission, and they're going over the master plan. So we talked a little bit, and there's really nothing urgent going on, and I said, then go to your planning meeting, because I know that's important. As you can see, the flows are pretty much the same as last month, which is pretty much the same as last year. Nothing's high. Dennis Ryan, I believe I talked about this at the last meeting, came out, did a quick walkthrough, made some notes, but basically he's waiting for that S2 grant report that we're still working on. There was 2 items that they had to get fixed. The lab equipment needed to be recalibrated, and the computer, as you guys all knew, had crashed. They rebuilt the land application tank transfer unit. Also, they applied the biosolids on September 12th and 13th. I don't know what farm they took it to. I didn't ask Chuck, but I know it went smooth. They had 1 call out due to power failure, and only high flows were directly related to the rain event. So again, it's been pretty quiet, and that's good. Any questions for him? No?
Okay, we'll move it on now to liaison reports. Is there anything anyone would like to address at this time?
Yes, Madam President, I have one. Street Commissioner, our bridge inspections were completed with no major changes in the bridges since the last inspections were done. And the data's been entered in the MDOT system, the website, and additional paper copies will be delivered to us within the next few weeks. Also, I had a meeting today with Andy, and they are still in extensive discussions with the Macomb County Department of Roads and with MDOT about our 2014 East Main Street project moving forward. Apparently there's been another project that's been dropped and there's more money available. So they feel as though that our professional, or one of our engineering portions, the PE portion of the project, we may be able to get some additional funding for that. So that'll be good. And MDOT has reiterated that the village intends to get reimbursed for this project, and they must wait until these funds have been approved by the Federal Aid Committee and obligated by the state. So we are kind of at a standstill until about March, right, Andy? Until these things happen on our 2014 East Main Street project. And after that, basically what's going to happen, because it has been delayed by MDOT, we more than likely will be letting the letting date of 11/7/2014, and the work will be performed in 2015, more than likely. So we're going to get another year of collecting more money so that we can be sure that we've got a good balance.
So the project won't happen in 2014, or happen in
And
2015?
more than likely will not happen in 2014, but it should happen in
They
2015.
changed the funding.
Okay.
And I'm going to send these both over to Michelle.
Any questions for Mr. Baylor? Hearing none. Any other liaison reports at this time?
Madam President, I just, Giffords Webster's continuing to work on our S2 grant cost structure, and they do have the invoice from plumbers, and they're double checking it prior to us receiving it for reimbursement.
Any questions on that? Any other liaison reports at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. It's a consent agenda, approval of the regular council meeting minutes of October 14th, 2013, payment of bills and 2 special event permit applications. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, is there anything anyone would like to delete off of there or any motion at this time?
Madam President, I'll move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Clark, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. There is no old business tonight, so we'll continue on into new business. First agenda item is the address of 23010 East Main Street, permission to open window wells. Are there any public comments?
Just
Yes.
would request.
This is where you speak.
Just would request expeditious approval of that. And I think, and we're here to answer any questions that anybody has.
And did you get the letter about the ramp?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on this agenda statement, it's on the regular agenda, so.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. and Mrs. Belke at this time?
I just want to explain something. I've talked to both Russ and Sam and a few members of council, but after talking with Jeff about this, there's some things that he wanted to incorporate into the motion instead of just a blanket approval. And those are on the new sheet that I gave you. There's 4 things that he added. And the reason that he's concerned is that everything, and everybody's aware of this, everything that's taking place will be taking place on village property because the property line is just the building for that building downtown, which puts the village, it's village property. So he just wanted to be sure that everybody is completely aware of that. He had some concerns which I think have been addressed. The one that was not addressed though was one of the things that he had suggested was having the village listed as additional insured on the Belke's insurance policy. He did not put that into the final motion that he gave me. I don't know if he changed his mind on that. I had to call into him and he did not get back with me before I left. He wants to be sure that, another thing that he does want to make sure of though is that the engineer sees, I guess pretty much gives his blessing on the plans, to be sure that they're all up to village standards. Obviously permits and inspection by our building inspector would be another thing, or code enforcer, I don't know which hat that falls under that was it. He just wanted to be certain that everybody's aware that, because anything that happens then on any sidewalk is ours, so. Just letting you know.
I had a question about the process. Is the engineer gonna review the pictures that we submitted that Ross made with the computer with the ramp, like the simulation of the ramp? Is he gonna?
He could, yeah, he didn't expect you guys to do, like drawing out
engineering
blueprint,
drawings,
engineer drawings, just so he's aware of what's going on, just in case he has any concerns.
Now, is this Ed gonna review this?
Dennis and
Okay.
Well, Dennis I know has already been in contact with them. Andy will look at it.
About a month ago, I think it was about a month ago, we gave the information about barrier-free ramps and widths and things like that, and lengths. So that's what they're working off of, I think, right now.
Yeah, yes, we are.
Yeah, it's ANSI 117 that you made us aware of, Dennis, and then I researched it further. And so the what you got was not describing all of the aspects of what the requirement is, but to give you an idea of what we're proposing to do. But it would be up to the code. So.
And Michael, to answer your question,
Yes.
this is coming off towards Main Street. The window wells that they're opening are behind it. he and I were looking at it today, and he says, well, doesn't the ramp come right over where the window wells are? Because these are old window wells here that you're not looking at opening, it's the ones back here.
Right, the ones
So-
that are
Yeah.
currently a trip hazard.
Yeah.
There's
you wanna
three.
fix
The
that.
first
Yes.
one, the northernmost one, has been filled in by concrete when the sidewalk was re-poured. The back two were not, so the window well is in the back two. And the rampway would be forward of the back two window wells.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
North, these two.
yeah.
Right, and the reason that it's important to do the ramp there is because the angle of the incline going in the front door, there's a couple issues with the front door. One is that we don't think the historical construction there will support concrete. And I don't think the ramp, because it would be so short, would meet the ADA requirements. It would be too steep. And ADA does not require you to take up your, historic entranceway in order to comply. You can do other things, so that's why that was Dennis's idea a long time ago to do the sideways ramp. And as long as my mom's in a wheelchair, as long as there's enough room to, as the driver, to actually do it, then I think it's a better idea.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Council
so that's-
deliberation?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
We confirmed that the lot line is the sidewalk?
Yes, yeah, that was included in your packet.
Yeah,
that's what we
Sam had pulled the field
Okay, I
sheets.
just wanted to make sure
Yep.
because, one of the other items that was listed, I had about 4 things, sorry.
That's okay.
The garbage container, I think planning has authority over the garbage containers, we don't as
For
council.
screening, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just wanted, I know when it was there before, I don't know how many times you almost hit somebody walking. If there was a way to, I mean, you guys have been there as long as me or longer than me, you know how bad it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's some way to take that into consideration, maybe with the height or,
Yeah, no, I sure can. It's,
I don't know.
we
Walking
took it,
how? Like if you're coming out the alley?
If you're driving out the alley, if somebody's walking,
yeah, there's a
You can't
and
blind
they're not
spot.
locals, you could easily hit them,
Okay.
I don't know if there's a way, if a garbage can's this high, maybe make the screening only that high. I don't
Yeah.
know. But that's up to Dennis and planning.
Right.
Yeah,
And then going along with that, did this go to planning first?
No, I haven't been to planning.
Why are we approving it before planning?
well, I'm sorry, your question's to the
no.
board, so.
Go ahead, Russ, I mean.
I was just going to say that what we're not doing right at the moment is declaring what the use of the building is going to be. It's going to be a retail facility of some type, and so I know I need ADA compliance. In fact, in talking with Ben, he's always indicated that's the number one thing that would be his objection, is that it doesn't have a rampway in there, and then it doesn't have bathrooms to accommodate men and women. So we're looking at that stuff. We're not ready to bring anything before planning at this point, but I'd like to continue to do some work on it before we bring it to planning. At the end of the day, that's my risk, and I'd just like to be able to take the risk. Now, the rampway probably not going to go into the spring. I would like to fix the window wells before the weather gets bad in the fall here.
Well, the window wells, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but the ramp, I just don't want to step on planning's toes. If this is their response, if it falls under them, you know what I mean? I don't want to.
Yeah, it's because it's on
It's
village
on
property.
Because it's on
property.
village property.
that
I
it
mean,
won't
there's
happen.
people on here that have way more planning experience than me, so I don't wanna
It's on
step on
village
any toes
properties.
either, but.
Madam
This
President?
never came up when we talked about it last meeting.
It'll.
Well, the ramp had not, that was something
Just in
that.
addition.
Yeah, that's an,
We are-
while we're doing it, that's why I got it added on.
Madam President, tonight we're not doing anything about the ramp. We're just giving him his right to fill in and repair the window wells.
Yeah.
Right?
No, the
And
motion is the
installation of the
compliant ramp.
ADA compliant ramp, is
Yeah,
what the
that's
motion.
part of the motion.
Read the first
Oh,
page.
it's the last
first
line,
page,
that's
last
the-
one,
yeah.
last couple words on there.
Besides, and just to clarify, we weren't talking about filling in the window wells.
No.
No, I'm
Yeah.
repairing.
Repair. Yeah.
There's a word, yeah. Taking out.
My last question about the window wells is, what did we do for the other businesses? I'm thinking about Chaps. I know they have the ramp in the back, but Dennis, you had issues with the sidewalk in the front, and they had the step. I
Well,
was
part
not
of
on
part of the
council
problem,
back then.
yeah, part of the problem was the building, the occupant load was so high, they had to make the door swing out. So they put the slab on the outside so the door would not swing out over a step. It would just swing out over a landing to make it legal. The other option they had was to move everything inside. So there were a couple options, and so we allowed them to take that one.
Okay. Kind of like Papa's did when they renovated, they put the ramp on the inside.
On the inside, correct. That would have been an option for them. We went the other way.
Okay. Because when you do this, you're actually, because there's other businesses that probably have the same problem with the step in the front. We're really allowing outside ADA ramps. So we have to be thinking in the future too, you know, for
A
all
lot of
other
the businesses, they can get in through the back, but like
They
in
can?
your case and in
Yeah.
Papa's case, the kitchens are back there. You can't have the public
Okay.
coming through the kitchen,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of them do have back access. I know when we redid the road, they had to rely on that.
Just as a point of information, I measured the sidewalk width, just before I came over here, it's 9 feet wide there. So it could easily accommodate a ramp as far as
Right.
having traffic walk by.
Oh, it's exceptionally wide.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I was curious what the dimension was, it was 9 foot, so
Yeah.
it's pretty good size.
Yeah, yeah. Just gonna mention that, it's a double sidewalk there. The one thing that I wanted to be careful of is to not get close to the water shut off that's there. And the requirement out of the ANSI is that it's 42 inches and that'll clear that without any problem.
Good.
So that would be the big issue, I would think, simply be
Yeah.
that.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Everyone has a motion in front of them?
Madam President, I'll resolve to grant the owners of 23010 East Main Street permission to perform construction work in the public right of way for the purpose of removing fill from the existing below-grade window wells and installation of an ADA compliant ramp subject to the following terms and conditions. 1, that all work comply with the applicable provisions of the state construction code enforced by the village and any other applicable code and ordinance provisions. 2, that all permits required in connection with work to be applied for. 3, that all permit fees and inspection fees required in conjunction with the work be paid. Number 4, that the owner enters into an agreement indemnifying and hold the village of Armada, its elected and appointed officers and employees harmless from liability arising from or in any way connected to the improvements made within the public right of way and requiring maintenance of the improvements by the owner.
Motion by Mr. Ballard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Conan, any other discussion?
That'll all go with any future, if you guys ever do sell,
Yeah.
that'll go with them as the future
Yes.
owner too.
Yeah, the maintenance was another thing that Jeff was concerned about, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, making sure that it's maintained,
Yeah,
obviously.
certainly understandable.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, the next agenda item is Mark Hackle, Macomb County Solid Waste Management Plan Response. Are there any public comments? Any public comments?
I have a public comment.
Okay.
My name is Sean Melman. I'm with Citizens for a Better Macomb County. I know this came up on your last agenda. There was a gentleman here from Citizens for a Better New Haven, which is obviously after the same agenda that we are. We're trying to stop landfill that's going into the Lennox Township area that Rizzo has proposed. What we've come to different communities is because right now in front of you was the Mark Hackle. Asked you as far as if you are going to be for the landfill, or as far as if you would actually then host the landfill yourself. And obviously it's come up that this is too small for the community as far as to have a landfill. But the other thing is Armada, as far as the actual township, would be big enough, as well as several other communities out in this area. What we come to you today as far as Lennox Township, which is where they're trying to propose to put the landfill, obviously has voted against to put a resolution into it to stop the actual landfill coming onto their property. And if we ever push something through and we force a township that doesn't want it, that makes a bad precedent for the future to put something onto somebody else that doesn't want it, or near somebody that doesn't want it. What we've come to you as far as, there is no reason to have another landfill as close, or as far as even in Macomb County. I know Rizzo, they have looked at a couple different things. Right now, as far as the city of Warren, is actually looking at changing the solid waste What they're doing is they're looking at to the export of trash. Right now, the city of Warren itself pretty much hits the entire exporting of trash in Macomb County. And I understand that. And to be honest, I don't want trash to be here. I prefer it to go somewhere else. I wish it could go back to Canada. But the thing is what we're trying to do is we're trying to stop a landfill from coming into our county. There are currently other options as far as in landfills. There's approximately 8 in the local area, plus the incinerator, where trash can go to. I know as far as, like I said, the problem is they say once they meet that we can't export the trash out, and thus then they are forced into sending it up to the Pine Tree Acres. So that is one of the issues that the gentlemen from Rizzo are going to bring up, and I have to understand they're in business. Their job is to try to make money. My job, as far as I'm a citizen of Macomb County, I do not want another landfill where one's not needed. So it's my job to be here to hopefully try to stop it. If we look at as far as Hackle, as far as basically has asked us for just those 2 questions. Do we want it? Or as far as do we want to host it? Those are the only 2 questions that have come before you today. The other question as far as on the export, that is something that's going to be at another time, and it'll be for another agenda, which I understand. But as far as I know, the agenda that Hackle sent out that he wanted a response by the end of the month was just those 2 questions. That is what we're going to be asking. The other thing as far as, I don't know if the people, if you're familiar with the 27 in Gratiot area, there are, as far as there's 3 schools within less than a mile of that location. There's 2 communities that are basically right across the street from that location. I don't believe that that is a good location. You do have, if I remember right, I believe it's the 7th largest landfill in the United States, already at 20, basically 28 and 29. I don't believe we want another one. The other thing is as far as with Rizzo coming in, if you have, right now we have a 30%, in the last 6 years, solid waste is down about 30%. If you look at the figures, they will vary slightly from place to place with all the recycling that has been happening. If the technology continues to move forward, that number is supposed to even go down even more. The solid waste that we currently have, obviously we get quite a bit of it from Canada. If you have 2 businesses that are that close together, the only way you can basically continue doing business is by bringing in more trash. And where's most of that trash going to be coming from? It's going to be coming from out of state, or it's going to be coming from Canada. And like I said, I don't want any more trucks on the roads in our areas. They beat up our roads. They don't pay us as far as our fair share of taxes to repair them. And that's where we're stuck.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Any other public comments?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Good evening, Madam President, Treasurers. My name is Greg Carpenter. I'm a representative from Rizzo Environmental Services. I was here a couple weeks ago, and I'm here tonight to reiterate some of the statements that I made last time. And basically, John put together a packet for 4 reasons why the plan should be amended. And the 4 reasons are basically consider a second landfill and/or approve 2 transfer stations in Macomb County, allow more trash to be exported, as Sean has referred to, and also allow it to go to different counties. Because in this packet, it shows what waste can be exported, if you look through that at your leisure. The City of Warren has formally requested for the plan to be amended to export more refuse out of Macomb County. And also the City of Sterling Heights has passed a resolution to amend the solid waste plan. So therefore we feel like I said the last time I was here, we're in it because we think we need another landfill for competition. You know, it's just right now we're struggling with the process that we're getting with waste management. And Rizzo is the largest municipal solid waste hauler in Macomb County. You know, we do take some stuff to Pine Tree because we have to, but all we can, we export it to other counties that we can take it to. But we're strapped because Wayne County has 5 landfills plus the incinerator, but we're not, well, legally we're not allowed to take it out of there because most of it's been used up by the City of Warren. And they are promoting competition in Wayne County, and they'd love to have more trash coming that way on behalf of that. That's about all I'm gonna have to say right now, because John wants to say a few things too, and I don't wanna take up everybody's time. But if you have any questions, we will entertain them. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us the time to come out and talk to you about this. This is not an easy subject to talk about. It's a very difficult decision to make, and that's the reason why Mark Hackle decided to send a letter out to the various communities. He alone is not going to be making a decision on this. As Greg said, there's only one landfill in Macomb County. The total yards that were disposed of in Macomb County last year was 4,200,000 yards. These are numbers that were given to us by the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. Out of that 4.2 million yards, almost 3.5 million yards came from Canada. Okay? Macomb County generated 757,000 yards. Lapeer County sent in 13,099 yards, or 1,399 yards. Oakland shipped over 9,100 yards, and Wayne County sent in 12,000 yards. If you break down into percentages, Canadian trash, they averaged 82% of the volume that went into that landfill. And at 82% of that landfill, they gave the Canadian haulers, the Canadian firms, almost a 50% discount over what they charged the local communities. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. A case can be made that the local communities are actually subsidizing the Canadian haulers and the Canadian waste. When Waste Management was asked, how do you determine pricing? A representative from Waste Management said that the market determines prices. He also said that the length of a contract, the amount and type of waste they want to dump, and how often they plan to deliver the waste are also taken into consideration. I think he forgot to mention one more thing, and that is, where are you operating from? Macomb County, and are you a Macomb County community? Because I guess then you're going to pay a different rate too, which makes no sense. We're hauling presently 10 communities in Macomb County. I think total we're up to about 32 or 33 communities if you go outside of Macomb County. And for a sense of competition, I mean, if we find that we need to have either another landfill, the last thing we want to see is this enormous landfill get an expansion for an additional amount of rubbish. If they're going to approve them for an additional yardage, we'd much rather see another landfill to create competition. And what better place to put a landfill than right next to an existing landfill? Excuse me. I included in that packet that according to CNBC, Pine Tree Acres is in the top 10 revenue producing landfills in the country. Okay? And it's easy to see why, with 4.2 million yards going in there annually, or going in there last year. If you ask Pine Tree Acres what their life expectancy is, I've heard 50 years. Well, that's not what they claimed to the DEQ last year. Last year they claimed that they only had approximately 11 years left with no expansions. Well, I also want to add that if they don't put any trash in the landfill, it'll last forever. I mean, you'll gain 1,000 years life expectancy. But if they continue to dump the type of rubbish that they're dumping and the volumes that they're at and do not get an expansion, according to their numbers, they're gonna be up in about 11 years. So even though it's not an emergency, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
even though it's not an emergency situation, it's something that has to be addressed. And instead of passing an expansion of an existing landfill, we'd rather gain competition or competitive possibilities here. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the page. But anyway, I appreciate your time. Please refer to the facts that are in the packets that we put together. Even though Mark Hackle wants an answer or a reply to a letter to a couple of questions by the end of the month, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get it. There's a number of communities that decided to wait, and we'll give it to them probably the second week of next month instead of by Halloween for a number of reasons. I thank you for your time, and if it means waiting to decide on this, please take your time and make the right decision.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Any other public comments? Hearing none, council deliberation. I had the council members, I believe we had 3 responses to the request that we put out for the council to let Michelle know. There were 2 questions in the letter from Mr. Hackle. Based on everyone's comment, I put the 2 things down as our community is not supportive of a new landfill being sited in Macomb County. And the second one is our community does not have the interest in being a host community for a new landfill or in expanding an existing landfill. Again, that was based on my own personal feelings and those cited by the other council members that did let Michelle know. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to add to this? Or do you feel like this letter has fully and has everything in there that we intend?
I think you're answering the question. I think that's fine.
I
Okay.
agree. And if they wish to bring up the other items, then Hackle can contact us again.
Okay.
Exactly. I agree.
Anything else by anyone? Okay, I don't think we need a motion. I just looked for council's okay on this. We can go ahead and, Michelle has the original, and we'll send it out to Mr. Hackle. I dated it for today, so it'll go out in tomorrow's mail. Thank you, everyone, for all your time and everything. Yes,
One second. One that's public record. Can we get a copy of that, please?
yes,
Thank you very much.
no problem. All right, if anyone else would like one, you can just email the clerk. She can get it out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, I appreciate your
Have a
time.
good evening.
You too. Okay? There is no other new business tonight. Are there any upcoming agenda items for another meeting? Any upcoming agenda items? Hearing none, any citizen comment on non-agenda items? Any citizen comment? Hearing none, any council comments? Any
Have a safe Halloween.
Yes, very safe Halloween.
Halloween hours are from 5 to 7.
At 7 o'clock, the children line up at the market in town. I don't know what it's called anymore. Cordy's, I
Corey's
think.
parking lot.
And then they take the parade over to the Lions Hall where they judge the children in their costumes, and they have a contest, and they have cider and donuts, I think, too.
So probably some cookies.
Correct. So everyone have a safe and happy Halloween.
I got a call today asking if there was going to be a siren at the 5 o'clock release for trick or treating.
We've never
We've
had one
never
before.
done that. No, just 5 to 5.
Just-
You know, the normal call is just that people leave the porch lights on as long as they have candy. If the lights are off, it generally means they're done. So,
And we typically have about 500 kids come through. So if you're new to the community, make sure you have a lot of candy.
lots of it.
Okay. Especially if you're in the subdivision, yes. There is no closed session tonight. The time is now 7:35. Is there a motion?
So, move.
Motion by Mr. Wallach to adjourn. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Audi. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.